right, so today, thank you very much for joining me today. Today, I want to talk about the second step, right, in the sales process, at least as far as I look at it, as far as I see it, right? There can be several things. I mean, some people dedicate their lives to talking sales. So obviously there's a whole lot more to talk about, especially when we go into the details and things like that. But from the perspective of keeping it simple in a way that helps me and works for me, that's what I'm trying to share with you, hoping that it works for you as well, and you get a lot of value from that. All right, so today I want to talk about crafting your communication for your sales, right? And I'm not going to teach you what to say, right, but I am going to try to provide some sort of a guide so that you can sit down and think by yourself that if this is a guide, if this is allowed and this is not allowed, what can I say here, what shouldn't I say, how does this help, how does this not help, you know, all the types of things, so that you can sort that out. All right, so the entire objective of today's teaching is to answer two questions. Last week we answered one question, right? And the question we asked is, what is the persona or the archetype of the person that would enjoy the solution that I provide? What is the description? What is the characteristic? Or what are the characteristics of the sort of person who will enjoy the kind of solution that I provide, right? Today, for the second step, there are two questions I want us to answer. Two questions. Please write them down. The first question is this: what will you tell people when you see them? Once you've curated people in terms of these are the people that will receive value from the service that I provide. The first question is, what will you tell them when you see them? The second question is, have you thought through all the possible reasons that they may have for saying no? Have you thought through all the possible reasons that they may have for saying no? So you're trying to discover, how do you communicate your value to attract them, okay? And how do you ensure that you address all the concerns that they have? Because when you understand that selling is helping, not convincing, you understand that when people are objecting, they are not saying they don't want help. They are seeing these challenges that prevent that help from coming. And what you need to do as a good salesman is to help them clarify that challenge. So for example, if you ask me to come and visit you in your house, it's not that I don't want to come, but if there's a challenge and there is no vehicular movement, right, you have to help me solve that vehicular movement challenge for me to be able to make it to your house. You see what I'm saying? So you must understand that when people object, right, especially when you are adding value, when people object, they are not saying that they don't want it. They are saying in more cases than not that, I see this obstacle, how do you think we can work around it? They may not necessarily say it that way, but at the end of the day, that's where they are going. Okay, so how will you communicate your value to attract people? How will you communicate your value to attract people? And you need to think through this very well, which is why I'm spending a whole session to talk about it, right? How will you communicate your value to attract people? The best way that I have found to communicate your value to attract people, how do you know what to say? One of the best ways I have found is, number one, speak with existing customers. Listen, one of the reasons why we talk about the fact that when you are starting a business, you shouldn't just start like that. You should have engaged customers. You should have started in a minimum viable product way first, so that in that way you already know the customer's feedback and you can use that to launch fully into your business. So how will you communicate your value to attract them? Because I almost hear in my ear somebody saying that, how do I ask customers that I don't even have at all? The way you do that is by having test customers. I don't know if you understand what I'm saying. In other words, have customers, but these customers are not, the stakes are not high, because if you say you are not doing again, they will not hold you ransom to it. But you can use and leverage them to test your model, to test your sales pitch, and be sure that it works. So speak with existing customers. What challenges have your product solved for those existing customers? Somebody may come to you and say that, wow, your school was the best thing that happened to me, because with your school, my kids came out with the best grades. Then you know that one of the strengths that your school has, right, is the fact that when you come to our school, you will get the best grades. So what will happen is this. Remember the example we gave of being in a room of 1,000 parents that are looking for kids to go into secondary school. You can then come into that room and say, ladies and gentlemen, for those of you looking to take your children to school and you want them to get the best grades, consider registering with us, because this is our track record of showing, of demonstrating that when people come to our school, they always come out with the best grades. So speak with your existing customers. What challenges have your product solved for them? How do you know? Just ask them some of the questions you need to ask. There's a fantastic book on this. It's called Lean Customer Development. I can't remember the name of the author. Lean Customer Development. She talks about how to ask customers questions so that you can elicit the kind of responses that you want in defining how you need to develop a product or develop a service. It's the same principle, it's the same thinking. So you want to ask them, right? What challenges has this product solved for you? Right? In other words, how were you solving this problem before before my solution came along? How were you solving this problem before my solution came along? If people did not have a way of solving a particular problem before your solution came along, it may be difficult for you to find adoption. I'll explain what I mean. If Uber came with an innovative idea, but nobody was taking taxis in the first place, you know that Uber will not be successful. The only reason why Uber was successful is because people already have a culture of taking taxis. So when they came with a better way of doing it, then people adopted it. So what I'm trying to say to you is this: if you want to solve a problem, you must find a way. How are people solving that problem today? How are you making it much more efficient? So you want to ask customers, what are the challenges that your product or your service solves for them? Some of them may say, my goodness, you are super convenient. Some of them may say that your location is great. Some of them may say that your place, whatever the service that you provide is top notch. Your customer service is excellent, right? Whatever it is that they say, you need to take that and use that, right, to know how to communicate your value to your customers. The second thing is this: what doubts did your customers have about your product before, and what eventually convinced them to now start buying from you? This is a very important question. What doubts did your customers have about your product at first, and what eventually convinced them to try it out? And how has your product now helped them so that they don't have those doubts anymore? You know why? Because whatever doubts they have, chances are that other new customers you're trying to attract have those doubts as well. So you must be able to say, so for example, somebody says, my God, your school is awesome, but the only problem is that it is far. Oh, we have a school bus. That is a doubt that the parent had in terms of how to get their child to school, but you found a way to try to help them solve it by telling them you have a school bus, right? Now, if you don't have a school bus, you probably may not be able to solve that problem. But if you have a way to solve that problem, then you want to talk about that in a wonderful way. So some of them may have had doubts that, look, your product is too expensive. So how were you eventually able to afford it? Some of them may say, oh, your office is too far for me. So how did you eventually overcome that obstacle? Oh, I found a colleague of mine who we always comes into your area, and that person will carry me and drop me off in a place that is great so that I can reach you easily. Okay, if that is the solution, then can you make that a structure whereby for anybody that is coming from a far place, they already have a way to get into your business? These are the things that you must have in your arsenal to ensure that you are able to sell, right? The other thing I will say to you is this: try as much as possible not to get too much into a price conversation. Price is what you pay, value is what you get. Price is what you pay, value is what you get. Try to get people to talk value, not price. Try to get people to talk from the perspective of value, not from the perspective of price. Because when you come to the price conversation and you are haggling over 1,000, 2,000, 300, 400, you are going to make your product a commodity. Nobody likes a commodity. So it's very, very important. Somebody may come to you and say, yes, but so and so is cheaper. Then go to so and so. But for the value that we provide, we charge a premium for that value. And you must be unapologetic about the value that you provide. Everybody knows that a Toyota is cheaper, but they will still enter a Range Rover shop to buy a 2022 Range Rover. Why? Nobody enters a Lamborghini store and says, oh no, but a Toyota is cheaper. No offense to Toyotas, right? However, but the point is this: you cannot have a conversation and everything you are talking about is price. If everything you talk about with your customer is price, you probably have the wrong customer, or you are overly charging anyway. But if you are sure about your value and you are sure about the price that you deliver, right, then you can tell people, listen, I'm even willing to do a money back guarantee because I'm sure about the value that we deliver. So try as much as possible not to get into a price conversation, right? Try and keep it on the conversation of value. So in other words, if somebody says that, oh no, wow, that's great value, but it is too expensive. Yeah, I mean, for now, you can say something like, look, in comparison to what? If you look at the value that you are getting, isn't the value greater than the price? And let me also say this to you, this is a very important point, right? If you cannot convince yourself that the value of what people are getting from your product or service is greater than the price that they are paying, then you need to keep working on it. I'll say it again. If you are a graphics designer, and I keep using this example, if you are a tailor, a fashion designer, if there is no way to convince people that the price that they are paying, that the value that they are getting from your product or service is far greater than the price, if there is no way to convince them, then you need to keep working on it. You have not there yet. So for example, if you sew clothes, right, and you sew all these wonderful kaftans, right, and you cannot convince me that the prestige, the class, the image that I will have when I wear that kaftan into a client's meeting, that it will deliver the perception that I'm trying to communicate. And if you are not able to convince me that that thing will happen, and the 5,000 naira or the 200 naira or the $200 that I'm paying is small compared to the value that I will be getting by the time that meeting is over, then I'm not going to pay. So price is what you pay, value is what you get. So you need to stay the conversation on value, not necessarily on price. And when you have a conversation, people keep trying to take you back to price, you take the conversation back to value. What is the benefit you will get? What is the benefit you will get? What is the benefit you get? Not features, benefits. And the reality is some people will never see it, and that's okay. Some people will make a mistake and enter a Lamborghini shop by mistake. They were looking for a Toyota store, but the shining look of the Lamborghini attracted them. So for such kind of people, just send them back to the Toyota store. Again, no offense to Toyotas. So, and then the second thing is, the other thing about people who object a lot, especially on price, is that we leverage them to build capacity for those who will see our value. For those who will see our value. Not everybody will see your value. Some mistakes will enter your store. Some mistakes will come into your business. I've seen people, one of the things I do in my consulting business is I document business plans. So sometimes people come to me and they want me to do a business plan for $1 million. $1 million is equivalent of about $2,000. I don't do it anymore. There was a time that I would jump on it, but now I will not do it. I'm sorry. If you think you really need one and you want the kind of quality and the value that we deliver, then you must be ready to pay the price for that. But if somebody comes and they say, oh no, this is my budget, I say, well, my pricing is not based on your budget, it's based on the value that I provide. All right. Now, I want to close by showing you another table. I showed you a table last week. So I want to show you another table today, right? That again, like I said to you, I think in tables, right? Every time I see anything complex, if I can put it in a table, it's all over. No matter what is complex in this life, if I can sit down and tabulate the issue, the problems. Okay, this is the problem. These are the possible solutions. How does the matrix work, right? Life is easy for me. So I'll show you this table, and I hope you can see it, right? It's very similar to the table I showed you last week, but I've added one more column because I want to make this thing very easy for you. On the first column here, I've got customer group. It's the same I had last week. The second one, I've got value proposition. So when you've identified your customer group, if you don't know what I'm talking about with customer group value proposition and channel to reach them, please go back and watch my video last week when I talked about the first step, all right, to making sales happen in your business. All right, the customer group, right? The second thing is the value proposition to that customer group. The third thing is the channel to reach people that are in the customer group that you want to communicate the value proposition to. The last thing I have here is message, which is what I'm talking to you about today. Because your crafting of your message to a customer group A will be different from customer group B, C, or D. There may be similarities in the communication, but there will also be differences. For example, the person that comes to, if you run a school, the person that comes to your school because of distance and proximity is different from the person that comes to your school because somebody told them that your school is the best thing that has happened since sliced bread. Your communication to both parties is very different. But if you communicate blankets to every single person the same way, you may not get the kind of results that you want. So if you are dealing with people, right, and you're talking to people, you must understand who they are, what their motivations are, so that you collect like terms, for lack of a better word, and the people with similar motivations can have a similar communication, while the people with dissimilar motivations can have dissimilar communication. I hope you see this, I hope it helps you, and I hope you write it down. So the table here, the first column is customer group. The second is value proposition to that customer group. The third is the channel to reach the people in that customer group. And the last one is, what is your message to them? All right. What is your message to them and to that customer group? All right. So I hope that has been helpful for you today. I want to say a big thank you once again, all right, for being a part of our teaching today. I really hope that these things are helping you. Please share with me your feedback, share with me your success stories. I'd really love to read from you. Listen, my favorite thing to do, right, in my pastime is just to look through some of the things and the comments that people are sharing and letting me know that, look, this thing is so helpful for me. It encourages me to research more, because as I'm reading and I'm studying and I'm like, how am I going to make this thing work? How am I going to make this work? And I just remember, and I'm getting tired, and I just remember that, listen, if I don't learn, if I don't teach Femi, if I don't help, right, if I don't share what I know, you know, Kola may not be able to do this, James may not be able to do that, this person may not be able to do that. I'm gingered and I'm fired up to learn more and to do more, just to help people and to help as many businesses as possible. Hey, if you have not subscribed on YouTube, what are you waiting for? Go ahead and subscribe. Please click the link in my bio. If you are not liking this video, I don't know what you're doing, but you need to like this video. All right, you help other entrepreneurs like yourself see this video and give it the kind of ranking that it needs, so that people can see it and people can learn and they can have better businesses and all of that. So hey, and if today is your first time joining us, where have you been? All right, it's been absolutely amazing, absolutely incredible. Always a joy, always a pleasure to bring you teachings like this. All right, next week I'm going to wrap this up on sales. I'm going to wrap this up by talking about the last stage, which is closing the sale and getting your money. That's important, my brother, my sister. That's super important. All right, thank you so much for joining me today. God bless you. I'll see you next time. I'll see you next week. Have a good week.